We're at the start of a new project here in Port Jervis, New York. A beautiful 11x16 ecosystem pond with about a 15-foot long stream. This is gonna be one awesome project. Let's go check out the job site. Here is the site for the 11x16 pond located in the front of this house here. It's gonna give a great entranceway waterfall as they pull up around the driveway. Right in this area here is gonna be a pea gravel patio so they can actually sit and enjoy the fish and the sounds of the waterfall. In front of me, you can see that they already put in the electric. The skimmer is gonna be going right in this general area here, and that's where the pump, which is the heart of the ecosystem, will be housed. The skimmer takes away any debris on the surface and is the pre-filter to the ecosystem. Up top over here is the signature 6,000 biofall. That's gonna be placed there, but the tree that you see behind it is gonna be removed. And in front of me here is the 11x16 pond, which will take up this area right here. So the tree has been removed and we're ready to start excavating the pond. I'm gonna set up the laser transit so we can shoot some different heights and elevations out here. And Aaron's gonna be putting together the pieces on the biofall filter as well as the skimmer to make sure that we have everything here and to protect some of the rivets, which I'll show you in a little bit by putting the screws in the hole so we can't actually get soil in there and cause a problem putting it together later. So these things here are rivets in the plastic of the biofall, and that later on is where that faceplate mounts and seals the liner to the filter unit. But while we're working on this, we don't want to get dirt in those holes. And the best way we figured it out was to put the screws in there loosely beforehand. So if the biofall lays on its front in the dirt or whatever, nothing blocks these holes up. Another thing Aaron will be doing is putting the bulkhead fittings into the back of the biofall in the holes that you see down below. There's one on each side, and he'll also put in the plumbing fittings so no dirt gets in the threads of the bulkhead. So when you go to put the bulkhead onto the biofall, you have four pieces: the tightening collar, a plastic washer, a rubber washer, and the backside of the bulkhead. Placing the backside of the bulkhead into the biofall with the rubber washer on the inside will give you a watertight seal. Now attaching the plastic washer and the tightening collar, opposite thread, lefty tighty, right is loose. Take a pair of channel locks and tighten down the bulkhead about a half a turn. The fittings that the pipe glues into and the plug that belongs in the back of the biofall, put a bead of black silicone on the tip of the threads and then screw into the bulkhead. Excavation has gone pretty smoothly. It's a pretty good soil, not too much rock. So that mound behind me is for the waterfall, and we got the first section dug out, which is roughly about 16 inches down for the first shelf in the pond. And I'm about to mark out the second area and then start digging. That'll be the deeper part of the pond. So we're at the bottom of the pond here, and as we got a little deeper, the soil definitely got bony and has some sharp shale pieces. Maybe when they built the house, they filled some of the land in, but it's definitely a rocky substance. And we're gonna put some soil over the top of it at the bottom, on the bottom floor of the pond. But for the walls, which you can see right here, are really, really rocky and sharp rock too. We're gonna have to use what's called a rock pad, which is an extra thick geotextile fabric that'll protect the liner from all this jagged rock. So we're wrapping up day one here, and we're in preparation for some rain. So we got a very, very large tarp behind me protecting the job site, and myself and Ralphie were able to get the liner in, and we even got some liner on the waterfall over there area just to keep it protected from the rain. We're expecting a couple, probably about an inch or so tonight, and then into the next day. So we might not be here for a couple days. We might have to pull off the project, unfortunately, but that's normal. You know, if that happens, we don't want to make a muddy mess of this driveway. I think we're pretty well prepared for the rain. Today was a great day for the first day on the project here up in Port Jervis, New York. Good morning, everyone. It's day two here, and the sky behind me is looking amazing this morning, but the job site suffered a lot of rain. You can see the pond filled up with tons of water. We laid the waterfall liner out over our pile of soil here, laid a very, very large tarp over the area that we'll be working in to keep the area as dry as possible. There's also a mound of soil right over there that we were trying to keep dry, as well as the area where we'll be pulling our rocks, which is underneath there, so it's not a muddy mess. We have to grab boulders. Once we uncover this all, hopefully it's pretty dry, we're gonna pump this out and start rocking in the bottom of the pond. So once we push all the liner in, we're gonna need a little more liner over here for the waterfall. And then in this section right over here, we have a small feeding stone, normally about 2 foot by 3 foot. And when the liner's fully in place and pulled down, we're not gonna have enough liner. And instead of going through another 200 square feet of liner, we're just going to attach a small piece here, so we're able to be able to dig out that area of the pond a little bit and be able to have the feeding stone fit in perfectly. Charcoal lighter fluid is a great solvent to prep the liner for the glue and the 4-inch or 6-inch seam tape. Aaron's removing any residue off the liner here, so it's nice and clean for when we put down the seam tape. Aaron is pouring a bead of the Firestone primer, and then he'll take a rag and smooth it out. To make sure the liner is ready for the seam tape, you press your finger like this, and you want to make sure it's stringy and tacky like that. It takes a couple of minutes sometimes, depending on the weather. Aaron is getting ready to put down the double-sided 4-inch seam tape, and I'll help him stretch it out as we go. We'll take the charcoal lighter fluid again and clean the bottom side of the scrap piece of liner. Now we'll apply the Firestone primer to the bottom side of the liner, let it dry for a little bit, and then flip the liner over, press it down to the seam tape. We'll have to wait a minute or two for the glue to set back up, and then we'll put a 6-inch cap tape on top for a perfect waterproof seal. Taking a roller, you can press down the seam and make it nice and smooth and the liner seam together. We're just about to start setting the first boulders into the pond. Raphael's up in the machine. Aaron's down below setting down a piece of rock pad, and the first boulder is going in. We're moving along really well in the pond. We got some of the larger boulders set down below, and now Aaron's filling in between the voids with medium and smaller rocks. So I'm in the bottom of the pond here, and that's what I'm talking about. The large rocks with some small rocks in between, and we'll do that around the bottom of the pond. They're underwater, and it'll give you a more natural look. So we got most of the stones in place in front of the cave, and the cave is pretty much backfilled. Now we're getting it ready to place the top rock to hide the rest of the black part of the cave. Piece of drainage pipe is nice and hidden now, and the koi have a nice little home to hide in. So Raphael has the first rock strapped up and hooked up to the excavator. Aaron's coming with a piece of underliner to place underneath it and protect the liner. And that boulder's gonna go over here. It's gonna be our left frame rock. I think water level should be somewhere here on the rock, right about there. So I'm looking to have the waterfall drop onto that and then spill over. So it kind of looks like the water's been washing down the face of that rock. And that's the plan for the first rock of this waterfall today. So let's see how it goes. So we got the spillway rock set on the waterfall, and it's nice and level. If you look behind me, that blue level right there, that's where the water's gonna spill over. It's gonna also spill on that rock right there with the 5-gallon bucket. Now we're gonna work our way around this way from that frame rock over. Raphael actually has the rock all strapped up in the machine, and he's about to send it over to me and Aaron so we can place it down in the pond. So we're gonna finish up this edge area in front of us, right here, and we're gonna turn this into a beach. We have a nice big boulder to the right over here, and a big boulder right over there. So we're gonna break that up with some smaller rock and some gravel, and a great place to put some aquatic plants in the pond. So the base of the waterfall is all set behind me, as well as the edge that runs along the driveway. And we started working on hiding the front of the skimmer box that Aaron was putting the faceplate on earlier. We're gonna be moving to the other side of the pond to start working to the left side of the waterfall, as well as rocking in the area under the birch tree. So we can eventually meet around to the other side, where that will be joined together with a feeding stone, which will be a large flat stone adjacent to a pea gravel patio. Good morning, it's day 4 here up at the Port Jervis project, and we're back at it. Got tons of stuff done yesterday. We finished off the fish cave. We got most of the pond rocked in, so that's where the feeding stone's going, right there in that bare liner area. We got to dig out this morning, and just tucking a couple more edges, and we're ready to work on the waterfall. So we got a nice spillway rock there. That'll fall on that rock as well, which is slanted this way, so it'll spill that way. We still got to set a boulder in there to stop water from going through there. Then we're gonna start digging out some soil over here, making it a little bit lower than the spillway stone. That way we can start setting our second waterfall stones. And this is gonna be roughly a 3-drop waterfall, finished off at the top waterfall up there where that biofall will be going. That's the plan for today, get that all complete. What a great way to finish the day. Water's filling in the pond. Aaron's just finishing up some foaming on the waterfall, and we got the waterfall pretty much complete. Great spillway stone there, as well as right there. It's gonna fall down on that rock. And then right where Aaron grabbed that level from up there, water's gonna actually trickle off that boulder, as well as fall down that staircase type waterfall to the right. When all said and done, that black biofall up top will be totally hidden. It's coming along really nicely. Tomorrow should be the day. So we're back here on the final day in Port Jervis, New York, and Aaron here is putting the final foam in the waterfall in different areas so the water can start cascading over these boulders. The pond is pretty much full, and hopefully in a couple hours we'll have this thing up and running.